In the Pandora Papers investigation, Ukraine is the world leader in the number of politicians using offshore schemes. 38 people appear in the documents. More than 10 Ukrainians hide their assets in the UK. There are on this list first assistant to the President of Ukraine, Serhiy Shafir, also Studio Kvartal 95 scriptwriter and director Andriy Yakovlev. Moreover, the ex-co-owner of private bank, whose case on money withdrawal and laundering is being investigated in Ukraine and the US, the oligarch Gennady Bogolyubov, is as well on this list. According to the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, Irina Venediktova, this information did not come as a surprise for her department.
Any information related to the activities of Privatbank has long been available to our colleagues from NABU, has been checked before and is now being checked practically under microscope. Personally, I have taken upon myself the responsibility to get off the ground this criminal proceedings investigation. Irina Venediktova, Prosecutor General of Ukraine, from Facebook.
According to the Pandora Papers, Ukrainian businessman and Укрсибbank ex-co-owner Alexander Yaroslavsky and oligarchs Dmytro Firtash business partner Igor Voronin owns property in the very heart of London. Tetiana, daughter of the former head of the Central Election Commission of Ukraine and ex-MP Serhiy Kivalov, has 5 properties in London. The faction of the presidential party, Servant of the People, stated the law signed by Volodymyr Zelensky a year ago will help fight such schemes. It was President Zelensky and his team who in January 20 voted for the anti-offshore law for the first time in the entire independence of Ukraine. The law will fully come into force from the 2022, and this anti-offshore law will put an end to the use of offshore companies by anyone from Ukrainian business, Ukrainian politicians, by anyone on the territory of Ukraine. The fight against offshore schemes is a global problem, and it is necessary to fight it not only by the forces of the state, says Inna Sovsun, a member of the parliamentary faction of Holos political party. In her opinion, an effective struggle is possible only in cooperation with other state governments.
It will work if as many countries as possible join it. The more states join the exchange of information, interaction, communication with each other, and so on, the more effective this law will work. In addition to a legislative framework, we understand that an adequate implementation of the law is needed. The law must be implemented by the relevant government agencies and structures, including law enforcement.
The Pandora File was compiled by 600 journalists around the world, who in 2 years contacted more than 300 world politicians and officials from 90 countries, one way or another involved in offshore company schemes. Among others, there are 35 current state leaders on the list. Such attention from the world media to the problem of offshore companies indicated the will of journalists to put an end to the world practice of money laundering, says political analyst Andriy Zolotaryov. The offshore jurisdiction reduction is a global trend. There will be 2 or 3 of them left in Europe. We are not talking about the elimination of offshore jurisdictions as such, but a significant number of them will be reduced. This corresponds to the global trend for the better transparency and control on finances. Everything is quite evident here. How it is being used is another thing. Understandably, in case of Ukraine, this will become the topic of the internal political struggle. Ukraine supports global trends in the fight against shadow income. Starting from 2022, our law enforcement will have access to the information about all Ukrainian assets located abroad. Thanks to the tax information exchange program, Ukrainians will know about everyone who uses offshore schemes. Reported by Nick Starkov, Valery Bakus for UATV News.